We are now live through our DPWH District Engineering Office Davao del Sur YouTube channel. To all BAC members, TWG members, BAC Secretariat, interested bidders, observers, and viewers, good afternoon. Our procurement proceedings for today is a private conference for civil works. The private conference will now come to order. The prayer led by Engineer Digos.
Thinking, approaching, gathering, daily for the basic life, and shared purpose of wages in this. As we begin this activity, we ask for peace, love, and all residents solutions. When we visit peace, patience, wisdom, insight to make decisions in the living. We have the directions we want, human guidance perspective. That are daily fruitful and make this activity very let's work together to save these purpose.
Salamat, Yans. Once again, our activity for today is a private conference for two civil work projects, the 26 LD 0044, construction of concrete road, Sitio Balutakay, Purok Pluto Road, connecting Balutakay to Pay Farmers Association, BACOFA, and Bansalan Mount Apo National Park Road in support of coffee processing industry, Managa, Station 2 plus 120 to Station 2 plus 520. Bansalan, Davao del Sur, EBC 18,840,500 pesos. Contract duration 164 calendar days. Next is 2680-0045. Construction of road from Sitio Kibanban to Barangay Soong. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 1 plus 944.09. Site 1. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 635.91, Site 2, Digos City, Davao del Sur, EBC 47,100,760 pesos. Contract duration 185 calendar days. Now may I request the Secretariat, Ma'am Lucrecia Bokong, to conduct a roll call and acknowledge the interested bidders and observers.
Hello, good afternoon. We would like to acknowledge the attendance of the BAC members, BAC TWG, and the Secretariat for this afternoon's private conference. Engineer Daisy A. Caniban, Miss Aisel Carla P. Uyao, Engineer Rielen D. Santos, Engineer Ace Mariano Elusero Jr., Engineer Teresa A. Relacion, Engineer Achilles Ray Armegonos is official leave of absence. For the BAC TWG, Engineer Winipen G. Montañez, Engineer James Raven Sarsona, Mr. Novi Carlo Onasibo, Engineer Edward M. Abdala, Engineer Rodel F. Codinar, Engineer Raymond G. De La Cruz, Engineer Ruji Espaha, sorry. Engineer Waldemar C. Alsa, Engineer Yankee Dayosa, Engineer Jalaide Timonde, Engineer Arvilin S. Dunyo, Engineer Roy L. Cansancio, Mr. Elton John Albert S. Terencio. It is also informed that Ms. Lilibeth R. Florentino is officially of absence. For the BAC Secretariat, Engineer Rebecca J. Suela is in official business in Davao City. Engineer Ivan Libusi Tormis, Engineer Anlisa C. Bonsit, Engineer Vanessa S. Laspunia, Engineer Annie Lorraine F. Jamante, Engineer Kinsey Marie G. Aligway, Engineer Luis Claire T. Villa, Miss Carla Arlen A. Lopez, and yours truly, Mrs. Lucrecia Gokong. I would also like to acknowledge our visitor, June Mar B. Martin, from Akagawad, from Barangay Soong, Digos City, Davao del Sur. Mr. Madam Chair, please be informed that notice of servers dated July 21, 2026 were already furnished to the following: to the Honorable John Transi Cagas, Congressman Davao del Sur, to the COA audit team, Mr. Eric A. Himilga, State Auditor, to the to Wilfredo L. De Sena, President, Philippine Constructors Association Incorporated, to the Director, National Constructors Association of the Philippines Incorporated, to Mr. Carlo M. Batalla, President and Chairman, Crime and Corruption Watch International Incorporated, to the Honorable Mayor of Bansalan, Honorable Edwin G. Reyes, to the Honorable Hudson Timani, Punong Barangay, Managa, Bansalan, Davao del Sur, to the Honorable Joseph Fortich Cagas, City Mayor, Digos City, Davao del Sur, and to the Honorable Jeneline M. Bulan, Punong Barangay, Soong, Digos City, Davao del Sur. That's all, Madam Chair.
Since, since majority of BAC members are present here, I declare the private conference for civil works is in quorum. So let's proceed to our agenda number 1A, the basic contract data, included in contract description, EBC, and duration, to be discussed by Engineer Barry Apitan.
Hearing Madam Chair, to my colleagues, the visitors, I'm going to discuss the toll roads project. First, ID number Mississippi 0044, with project name, construction of complete road, Sitio Balutakay to Purok, Pluto, road connecting Balutakay Coffee Farms Station, BACOFA, and Bansalan road and supporting Philippine processing industry, Managa, Station 2, Place 150 to Station 2, Place 520, Bansalan, Davao del Sur. The initial amount of 18,814,200 pesos. Contract duration, 164 days. Source and file required in 6 location early with 31 should display the locations in the project at Sitio, pattern, Barangay Managa, Bansalan, Davao del Sur. Follow yan po, monitoring project. Should display the significant deposit ng project. First, part B, ang project billboard and symbol, infrastructure and home, program, public management, mobilization and demobilization. Part C, it works for driving, surface plan excavation, surface excavation tunnel, cost flow protection, and land planning. Foundation field for land planning, pipe foundation for excavation common site, backnet from road excavation common site, subgrade preparation common site, for partly service in distance within 200, for partly frequency of completely 20 feet for paid shoulder and 20 meters productivity. For 5G, drainage and sleep protection structure, install with toolbox plus spacing using 1% parity per 1 diameter. Welcome to reinforced comfort, comfort plus service center, highly connected backbone. For package, miscellaneous structures, install the program with a important post in the building, and we can do eight issues in the rooms. And the first thing of plastic to the meeting, for a right and scopable, everything to 16 levels, with a length of 200 meters, with a width of 6.7 meters and 3.25 meters both sides, and thickness of 4.8 meters, and shoulder width of 1.5 meters both sides. The also front shoulder, and width of 1.5 meters, and a thickness of 44 meters. She displayed the typical section with light color on both sides with silver illumination in writing. Next, we install RCPC, post credits, at station port 169.446. Install a new 1,000 targeted RCPC, breakwater denominator. Provide custom individual with one stone left side with stone solid touch base on right side. And those solutions for protection, change script the typical letters cost protection, remove breakpoints. Those installation of the tabular component, change script the maintenance of the line is true, and location or stations if you are line. For the road safety, we installed plastic thermoplastic tubing mapping, right and rail. Road one for the road side and for the solid rail of the single. Another road safety we install it already with including posts, WB, and metal building piece using almost total of 15 millimeter of thread and 4 pieces at around 20 pieces using those. Next project, the Balutakay number 6 MD, 645, with the project name Construction of Road from Sitio Kibanban to Barangay Soong. Station 7 plus 00 plus Station 1 plus 144 plus 7. Site 1. Station 0 plus 00 plus Station 0 plus 63.21. Site 2. Digos City, Davao del Sur. The vision note of 27,100,760 pesos. Draft duration on 135 dollars. Source of file RE 12314 information expression. Issue Barangay Soong and Barangay Sitio. This project of section 6 site 1 Sitio. Color orange color pink po important project. Next is my please. For part B, another general requirement, present billboard and signboard, typical city and health program, traffic policy, and decision organization. For part C, paperwork, removal of trees, removal of fence, removal of RCPC, surplus from installations, success from installation, personal protection, integral health command, collaboration pay for integral command, central box and Yes, Commission Commissioner, Dapat Bar and Civil Devotion. For Part B, Service Industries, Written Committee. For Part A, Service Scopes, Paid Shoulder, Technical Meters, Security, 25 meters. For Part G, Drainage and Slow Protection Structures, Pipe Culverts plus 4 RCPC, Line Canal Regular Reinforced Concrete, Plotted Rooftop using Class A, Stone Assembly. For Part H, miscellaneous structures, installed metal building to make converted metal building pieces, including the building and buildings. Stockboard, completing system Davao, for line percent 1,124.7 meters, for site 4, 55.64 meters, a total of 2,389.73 meters. For the weight of 6.12 meters, 3.05 meters both sides, and thickness of 0.5 meters. The shoulder weight of 1.5 meters both sides. Single straight, vertical maintenance of the cut sections of the bridge and field portions of the platform. Single straight, the schedules of the paved shoulder, a width of 1.5 meters, both 1.5 meters, and the thickness is 0.15 meters. Reverse the bullet with stone for 2.5 kilometers using the spot, total of the 11 millimeter. So the screen down the section university is 100. Please show the screen typical details of the wall using string assembly, but it will consider six credit millimeter. Next, to display let's schedule course at course 2.5 kilohertz using plus 4, close to the net at site 1, station 0 plus 25357. Remote system download CPC 19610 millimeter by 8 millimeter SPC and replace with new line 110 millimeter by 11 millimeter SPC along with stems that are on both sides. Schedule for the rectangular complete light canal. Complete class A using 2000 phase height, complete class steel bar using grade 40. The total of lengths of one light canal 920 millimeter. And the usual foundation frame that is 0.1 meters. Application cost of a light canal, site 1, extension 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 160. On both sides, a length of 160 meters. So in the screen, the typical details of a rectangular complete light canal. Service capable installs the protection using water trap plus 3. Sudah pada 120 meter. Seriously, the qualities of capable and some ground person. For the road safety, makes the replaced pavement marking color white with a sticker and less than project. So seriously, the qualities of replaced pavement marking color white. There's a solution of request payment marking yellow for the no crossing zone. Another safety install metal metal beam, including post, single, double beam, and metal beam in piece using almost metal vertical 65 millimeter and 12 each almost. Guardian able to the statement party or what wait, data the range daily.
B, the requirement of leading documents, including instruction to leaders, general condition of contract, special condition of contract, specification, drawings, bill of quantities and forms. For agenda numbers 1C, documents to be submitted by bidders. And for agenda number 1B, the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post qualification and more. To be discussed by Engineer James Liverpool.
The first bid envelope shall contain the following technical documents, including the eligibility documents. First, valid PhilJIP's registration certificate, platinum membership, all pages, in accordance with section 20 of the IRR of RA 12009. QR code must be clear and readable. Failure of the bidder to update its PhilJIP certificate of registration with the current and updated supporting documents shall result in the automatic suspension of the bidder's certificate. Second, special PCAB license and registration in case of joint venture. Third, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Failure by the bidder to disclose all ongoing government and private contracts leads to automatic disqualification and potential blacklisting for misrepresentation. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: 1. Copy of notice of award and/or contract. 2. copy of notice to proceed issued by the project owner, and 3, copy of certificate of accomplishment signed by the project owner or authorized representative. In case of no ongoing contract, the bidder shall submit this duly signed form and indicate no ongoing contracts under the column number 1. Dual purpose of the statement all ongoing contracts. It is relevant in relation to the computation of the NFCC formula. The value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of ongoing contracts will be deducted from the product of the current assets minus liabilities multiplied by 15. Hence, for the procuring entity to determine the correct computation of the NFCC, the bidder shall declare all of its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. The statement of all ongoing government and private contracts still has its significance in relation to the verification on the bidder's performance in its ongoing contracts during post-qualification process. 4th, statement of single largest completed contract or SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, in accordance with instructions to bidders, clause 5.5. SLCC must be equivalent at least 50% of the ABC. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments. 1, copy of contract. 2, copy of certificate of completion. And 3, copy of certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the constructor's performance evaluation system. In case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. If net financial contracting capacity or NFCC computation in accordance with instructions to bidders, clause 5.6. Computation as follows: current assets minus current liabilities multiplied by 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the contract to be bid. NFCC must be at least equal to the ABC. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments. 1, copy of latest audited financial statement, or AFS, and 2, copy of proof of receipt for AFS submitted to the BIR, confirmation receipt for online submission, or BIR receipt stamp for manual submission. 6th, joint venture agreement, if applicable. Joint ventures may participate, provided that the primary purpose of each member must be similar or related to the requirements of the project. Each member of the joint venture shall jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity in case of breach or failure to comply with the requirements of the project. 7th, bid security in the prescribed form and amount in accordance with instructions to bidders, clause 16, and validity period under clause 15. The bid security shall be in the form of a bid securing declaration or any of the following: the amount of not less than 2% of the ABC if bid security is in cash, the amount of not less than 5% of the ABC if bid security is in surety bond. Bids and bid security shall be valid for 120 calendar days from bid opening. 8th, project requirements, which shall include the following: 1, organizational chart for the contract. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. 2, list of contractors' key personnel to be assigned to the contract with their qualification data. These personnel must meet the required minimum years of experience set in the bid data sheet. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: letter of nominee, notarized certificate of employment, biodata, copy of PRC ID, PTR, TIN, and certificate of accreditation and/or training. Key personnel, particularly the project manager, project engineer, and materials engineer, must be different persons. Accredited safety officer, required upon issuance of notice of award, subject to Department Order Number 35, Series of 2021. First aider with certificate of training issued by the Red Cross in compliance to Department of Labor and Employment requirements for the approval of construction safety and health program required upon issuance of notice of award, subject to Department Order Number 35, Series of 2021. Compliance to DOLE Department Order Number 252, Series of 2025, revised implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act number 11058, entitled An Act Strengthening Compliance with Occupational Safety and Health Standards and Providing Penalties for Violations thereof. 3. List of contractors' major construction and laboratory equipment units to be assigned to the contract, supported by certifications of availability, which must meet the minimum requirements for the contract set in the bid data sheet. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: proof of ownership, ORCR, and affidavit of ownership. Lease contract and affidavit of commitment, if applicable. Purchase agreement, if applicable. Certification of availability of equipment issued by owner, lessor, or vendor. And certification of minimum laboratory equipment duly certified by any DPWH office. 4. Notarized omnibus sworn statement in accordance with section 54.3 of the IRR of RA 12009, supported by duly notarized special power of attorney, board, partnership resolution, or secretary's certificate, whichever is applicable. 5. Latest General Information Sheet, or GIS, reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission for corporations. 6. ISO 9001-2015 certification, or its latest version, as applicable, in compliance with Department Order Number 110, Series of 2024. The second bid envelope, or the financial component, shall contain the following. 1. Bid form. 2. Bid prices in the bill of quantities. 3. Detailed estimates including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid. And 4. Cash flow by quarter. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Format and signing of bids. Bidders shall submit their bids through their duly authorized representative using the appropriate forms provided in Section 9, Philippine bidding documents related forms on or before the deadline specified in the ITB Clause 19 in 2 separate sealed bid envelopes, which shall be submitted simultaneously, whether through manual or online electronic submission. The first envelope shall contain the technical component of the bid, including eligibility requirements under ITB Clause 12, and the second envelope shall contain the financial component of the bid. Forms as mentioned in ITB Clause 17.1 must be completed without any alterations to their format. No substitute form shall be accepted. Each and every page of the bid form, including the bill of quantities under Section 9 hereof, shall be signed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Failure to do so shall be a ground for the rejection of the bid. Any insertions, erasures, or overwriting shall be valid only if they are signed or initialed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Sealing and marking of bids. Bidders shall enclose their technical documents described in ITB Clause 12 in one sealed envelope marked as technical component, and the financial component in another sealed envelope marked as financial component, sealing them all in an outer envelope marked as bid. The bid shall be typed or written in ink and shall be signed by the bidder or its duly authorized representative. All envelopes shall contain the name of the contract to be bid in capital letters. Bear the name and address of the bidder in capital letters. Be addressed to the procuring entity's bids and awards committee in accordance with ITB Clause 18.1. Bear the specific identification of this bidding process indicated in the ITB Clause 1.1. And bear a warning, do not open before the date and time for the opening of bids in accordance with ITB Clause 19. For manually submitted bid envelopes that are not properly sealed and marked, as required in the bidding documents, the same shall be accepted, provided that the bidder or its duly authorized representative shall acknowledge such condition of the bid as submitted. On the other hand, unsealed or unmarked bid envelopes, or bids that cannot be opened or corrupted in case of online submission, shall be rejected. The Bids and Awards Committee shall assume no responsibility for misplaced or lost contents of the improperly sealed or marked bid, or for its premature opening. Bid documents must be prepared on A4 size paper and properly labeled with ear tag, matching those on the checklist. All supporting documents, Photocopied from the original shall be legibly readable and will be authenticated as needed during the post-qualification process. Illustration for the sealing and marking of bids. The bidder shall submit one original and one copy one of the technical and financial components of its bid. Submission and receipt of bids. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic online. For bids to be submitted manually, bids must be duly received by the Bids and Awards Committee Secretariat on or before the scheduled date set in the bidding documents. For bids to be submitted electronically online, bidders should observe the guidelines for the electronic submission and receipt of bids as per Department Order Number 87, Series of 2020. Bids submitted after the deadline shall not be accepted. Email address for the electronic bid submission: electronic bids _ Davao del Sur at dpwh.gov.ph. Bidders' responsibilities. The bidder, by the act of submitting its bid, shall be deemed to have inspected the site, determined the general characteristics of the contract works and the conditions for this project, and examine all instructions, forms, terms, and project requirements in the bidding documents. Further, the bidder shall bear all costs associated with the preparation and submission of its bid. The procuring entity shall in no case be responsible or liable for those costs, regardless of the conduct or outcome of the bidding process. Furthermore, the bidder should be aware that the procuring entity will accept bids only from those that have paid the applicable fee for the bidding documents of the office indicated in the invitation to bid. Clarifications and amendment of bidding documents. Prospective bidders may request for clarifications on and/or interpretation of any part of the bidding documents. Such request must be in writing and submitted to the Bids and Awards Committee of the procuring entity at least 10 calendar days before the deadline set for the submission and receipt of bids. Supplemental bid bulletins may also be issued upon the procuring entity's initiative for purposes of clarifying or modifying any provision of the bidding documents not later than 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. It shall be the responsibility of all prospective bidders, including those who have properly secured the bidding documents, to inquire and secure supplemental bid bulletins that may be issued by the Bids and Awards Committee. Eligibility criteria, evaluation. Eligibility criteria shall be in accordance with Section 52.4.2 of the IRR of RA 12009. Eligibility evaluation for the procurement of locally funded civil works contracts shall be conducted electronically using the Civil Works Registry pursuant to Department Order Number 64, Series of 2012. Contractors who wish to participate in the bidding are encouraged to enroll in the DPWH Civil Works Application, or CWA, at the Procurement Service, 5th floor DPWH Building, Bonifacio Drive, Port Area, Manila. While those already enrolled shall keep their records current and updated. Preliminary examination of bids. The Bids and Awards Committee shall open the bids in public immediately after the deadline for submission and receipt of bids, as specified in the bid data sheet. In case the bids cannot be opened as scheduled due to justifiable reasons, the Bids and Awards Committee shall take custody of the submitted bids and reschedule the opening of bids on the next working day, or at the soonest possible time, through the issuance of notice of postponement to be posted on the PhilJEPS and DPWH websites. The Bids and Awards Committee shall open the technical and financial proposals on the same day. The bidders or their duly authorized representatives may attend the opening of bids. Detailed evaluation and comparison of bids. The procuring entity's evaluation of bids shall be based on the bid price quoted in the bid form, which includes the bill of quantities. The procuring entity will undertake the detailed evaluation and comparison of the bids which have passed the opening and preliminary examination of bids to determine the lowest calculated bid, or LCB. The Bids and Awards Committee shall immediately conduct a detailed evaluation of all bids using non-discretionary criteria considering the following. A. Completeness of the bid. Bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bid data sheet shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. B. Arithmetical corrections. The BAC shall consider computational errors and omissions to enable proper comparison of all eligible bids. Any adjustment shall be calculated in monetary terms to determine the calculated prices. The BAC shall evaluate all bids on an equal footing to ensure fair and competitive bid comparison. For this purpose, all bidders shall be required to include in their bids the cost of all taxes, such as, but not limited to, value-added tax, income tax, local taxes, and other fiscal levies and duties. Such bids, including said taxes, shall be the basis for the bid evaluation and comparison. Post-qualification. The BAC shall determine to its satisfaction whether the bidder that is evaluated as having submitted the lowest calculated bid complies with and is responsive to all the requirements and conditions specified in ITB Clause 5 and 12. The determination shall be based upon an examination of the documentary evidence of the bidder's qualifications submitted pursuant to ITB Clause 12, as well as other information as the procuring entity deems necessary and appropriate, using a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion, which shall be completed within a period of 12 calendar days. If the BAC determines that the bidder with the LCB passes all the criteria for post-qualification, it shall declare the said bid as lowest calculated responsive bid and recommend to the head of the procuring entity the award of contract to the said bidder at its submitted bid price or its calculated bid price, whichever is lower. Reservation clause. Notwithstanding the eligibility or post-qualification of a bidder, and without incurring any liability, the head of the procuring entity at any stage of the procurement reserves the right to review its qualifications, reject any and all bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award the contract in the following situations. A. If it has reasonable grounds to believe that a misrepresentation has been made by the said bidder. Or B. If it has reasonable grounds to believe that there has been a change in the bidder's capability to undertake the project from the time it submitted its eligibility requirements. Should such review uncover any misrepresentation made in the eligibility and bidding requirements, statements, or documents, or any changes in the situation of the bidder, which will adversely affect its capability to undertake the project so that it no longer meets the prescribed eligibility or bid evaluation criteria, the procuring entity shall consider the said bidder as ineligible and disqualify it from participating further in the bidding process or being awarded the contract. Award of contract. The head of the procuring entity shall award the contract to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated responsive bid, or LCRB. The procuring entity shall notify the winning bidder in writing that its bid has been accepted through a notice of award duly received by the bidder or its representative personally. End of presentation. Thank you.
For agenda number 2, any questions, comments from the interested leaders and other representative of the hearing? For agenda number 3, it is informed that any interested bidders that the cancellation of order of payment is not allowed without justification and valid reason, and also all bidders sending the representative must acquire a special power of attorney and should be specific to the project they wanted to participate. For agenda number 4, for the summary of proceedings, including supplemental bid bulletin, to be discussed by Engineer Diamante. Good afternoon. Madam Chair, please be informed that as of this date, no supplemental bulletin has been issued. Thank you. So if none, the credit conference adjourned at exactly 2:39 p.m.